Hello everybody and welcome back to Operation Logistics, where I figured out something that I think we can implement in one episode, which is good because I'm at the end of my session and I don't want to get started in something big right now. So, we do not currently have sell land mode implemented. And the question is, do we have it in our toolbar? So if we go into land management and we get the sell land button, we do have on enter sell land mode, and in the business we do on enter sell land mode, which is around here somewhere. On enter sell land mode. So interaction mode equals interaction mode dot sell land. Okay, and then we'll go into building hex, and we need to implement the tooltip type for sell land. So case interaction mode dot sell land break TTO dot tooltip content equals sell land for plus purchase cost dot toString. We'll go ahead and do that. How are we calculating that purchase cost right now? Is that up here? Yes, that's just the base land cost. Purchase cost dot toString, and then that's fine. Plus, we'll put in a /n divider with, looks like 5, no, not these, 5 of these, like so, plus /n. And this is a fair number of spaces in. I'm not sure exactly how many, but we're just actually going to copy this verbatim. Base cost plus, and we're going to add another line here with actually 3 line breaks. And then this will read, warning, any buildings you built may be demolished. Okay. And actually, we'll only do 2 line breaks. So now we have a tooltip for sell land mode, which is handy. And then if we actually interact with the hex in sell land mode, then we want to essentially throw up the confirmation window. Except that it's hard-coded, and I don't really feel like messing with that. So for right now, we may want to do update confirmation window to be more generic. Okay, so I think pretty much all we have to do right now is increase the current balance by value, set player owned to false, blah 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 blah. So we would need to do something like business dot owned hexes dot remove hex ID, like that. Business dot current funds plus equals purchase cost, and then we would, that's pretty much all we need to do. Although I do want to say times 0.85f. I do want it to be, you'd have to sell it at a loss. So that would be fine. And then down here, we can, in the tooltip, go ahead and say business.balance.baseland times 0.85f. There we go. So now we'd be able to purchase the land and then sell it for 85% of its value. That shouldn't be too bad. And this ended up taking like 5 minutes, so that's not ideal. What else am I going to do to pad out this particular episode? Well, we might take a look at the confirmation window and see about genericizing that a little bit. But for right now, let's go ahead and come on in here. Make sure that we can purchase this land, blah, 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 blah. Yes, buy that hex. We'll buy that hex too. And we can't afford to demolish these. Bam. That doesn't throw an error. It just doesn't do anything. If you can't afford to demolish it, then when we actually interact on it, this is just if there is that. If we have the money, and this doesn't even need to be an else if, does it? Yeah, it does actually. But I think I'm going to go ahead and copy this in here and do a separate if statement, because I want this to be encapsulated within that else. And then we'll have a separate else here if we don't have the money, and we'll say business.errorText.throwError. You don't have enough money to bulldoze that. Okay. There we go. Now that'll throw up an error, rather than just doing nothing. That'll usually help. So the next question is, how can I waste another, 10 minutes or so. 10-15 minutes. Well, this is a good start. The fact that it's taking so long to get started here. Also, maybe it's just a terrible start. There we go. I was going to say I feel like it should have started by now, but it did. So we'll go ahead and we can't sell land that we don't own, obviously. Although if we try, hey, look at that, no error. We should implement one. Okay, when we actually interact, we're not running a check here, are we? We aren't. If business.ownedhexes.contains hex ID. I think we were just making free money by selling other people's land there. That is definitely not ideal. So if we own it, then we can sell it. Else, business.errorText.throwError. You can't sell land, lad. You can't sell lad you don't own. No, you can't sell land you don't own. I mean, you can try, and if you can succeed, then you're a great scam artist. But not in this game. You can't sell land that you don't own anymore. Okay, let's try this again. I want to test demolishing things we don't own. I want to test selling things we don't own. What other things do we want to test? We want to test constructing things on things that already have things. We want to test constructing things on things that don't have things, but that you don't own. That's not something I'm sure we've ever tested, now that I think about it. So we buy a piece of land, we bulldoze it, we sell it, and then we try to build on it. It shouldn't work, and I don't think it will, but I also am not sure it'll throw an error. It might. So that's like 3 things we need to test there. So let's hop in here, and let's demolish on land we don't own. Not a player-owned hex. Perfect. Let's sell this land. You can't sell land you don't own. Oh, look at that. Okay. So, when we do the throw error, we should go ahead and do stop all coroutines, because this faded out too fast. Because the coroutine was actually still running even though we changed the error. We want it to reset the coroutine when it throws the error. So there we go, there's another small fix. So we now know that we can't demolish stuff that we don't own and it throws an error message. We can't sell things that we don't own and it throws an error message. And the question then is, what about that construction scenario that I talked about? So let's purchase a piece of land and then demolish that building that's on that piece of land, and then sell the piece of land and then try to build and see what happens. It'll be interesting. to be sure. There we go. Skip that tutorial. Head on in here. And go ahead and purchase this land. Purchase the hex. Demolish it. Now we are going to sell the hex. There we go. We did successfully sell it. And now we are going to attempt to build on the hex that we sold. Can't construct on an unowned hex. Perfect. We will now buy it back. Confirm. And we should be able to build on it now. And indeed we can. Fantastic. We'll buy a vehicle. And yeah, this is starting to come together. This is really starting to come together, actually. What hex were we in? This one? Yeah, we were in this one. There does need to be some way to see where you have structures. Like, we need to be able to see that from here. There's no doubt about that. Because, I mean, like, right now, where's that post office? I actually don't know. Was it here? No. I want to say it was over in here somewhere. Maybe like here? These don't seem right. I have literally no idea where it was. And that's a problem. Is this it? No, I don't think so. Yeah, I have literally no idea right now where our post office is. So that's something that we're definitely going to need to consider, is we need to know where we have structures. Which is something that we currently do not know. Was it here? No. Was it here? No. Like, it's not very useful the way it is right now. Like, it's great if you're just in here and maybe you pop over here and you're like, okay, yeah. And then you pop back. It's fine. But you come out here and come up over here and suddenly you're like, where was I just now? There's no real way to know. And that's something we're going to have to do something about in the near future. But for right now, why do we have 0 delivery vehicles? I guess that doesn't update, does it? That should. So in our business, when we are updating all of that, let's hop over here and go into our update. Our delivery vehicles grabs our delivery vehicles from up here in our inventory. And realistically, this should automatically be a getter. So we get, and we can automatically calculate this by saying something like for each int3 location in owned hexes. Then we could say something along the lines of, we would get the business, so hex manager dot get world hex by index, and this would be location dot world hex dot biome hexes. This would be location dot biome hex dot buildings location dot biome hexes, or building hex. What am I talking about? Building hex. So we would say building equals that. So that gets us our building. And then we'd say something like int sum equals 0. And then we would say if building dot vehicle storage type equals vehicle type dot delivery vehicle, then we would say sum plus equals building dot vehicle storage dot count. Yes. That's 1 indexed, and that's what we want it to be. And then we would simply, at the end of this, return sum. That shouldn't be particularly slow. Then we do the same thing for planes, ships, trains, and trucks. So let's go ahead and do that. We've got a couple minutes here. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're just going to paste this on in. In fact, I'm just going to get that. Okay. Ships, trains, and trucks. So all of these will automatically update. And then we need to be checking here, instead of delivery vehicle, we need to be checking plane. And then here we need to be checking ship. Here we need to be checking train. And here we need to be checking truck. Okay. So that should automatically update all of these now. They should automatically update and very, very easily, just like that. Actually, when we were doing this, what is our balance dot? Okay, that automatically does all that as well. Perfect. So yeah, our top bar should automatically update. Don't need to worry about that at all. So let's just go in, buy ourselves a postal office, buy ourselves a delivery vehicle, and then we should see that we have 1 delivery vehicle instead of 0. So let's go ahead and purchase ourselves this brewery. We'll demolish it. Construct a postal office. Select our postal office. 1 delivery vehicle. Very nice. And you can also see that our expected expenditure is exactly where it should be. Fantastic. Well there, we got quite a few bugs fixed in this episode, and we got this feature added in. I think that's pretty much the end of this episode, though. I'm not sure how much more I can pad this one out without going super long, because I don't want to start a big project. There are a couple of major things yet that we need to do, and I would like to talk about those for a moment here. The top priority right now is going to be in adding package generation and then route management, creating, editing, and removing of routes. There is still this bug in this tooltip that I would like to fix. It's just a scaling bug. You can see the tooltip doesn't go exactly where it should. And finally, the third thing that is relatively high priority is overhauling this view here. And that's going to be a pretty big project, because I want this view to be much more representative of what's going on under the hood. And more importantly, I want it to show where the player has facilities. Like right now, where was that post office? I have literally no idea. It's just gone. It's somewhere in the 13 million possibilities. So that's something that we're going to need to do. That's one kind of minor thing with the tooltip scaling, and there are, in addition, 2 pretty major things. One is a major new feature, and one is an overhaul of our overworld. So both of those are things that will need to be happening. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in here, and we will start diving into those in the next episode. See you all then.